Hello, Mr. President. Hello? Yes, I am listening. I am today very happy. I am from India. What for are you happy, my dear daughter? Today, my mother has prepared very sweet cakes and having appetizing flavor. Oh, cakes! Very nice. Very nice of you. Very nice of your mother. I like cakes. Have you taken cakes earlier, Mr. President? Yes, your Prime Minister has brought with him. Whenever he comes to USA, he has given me Indian cakes. Very sweet, very nice. But nowadays, as you know, I don't have any good relationship with him. Or he is not in my good book. That's why I don't get your sweet cakes. Oh, yes, in my home there are cakes and we have taken it. Can you export it? Sorry, Mr. President. How can I share my sweet cakes to you? I have already finished. Oh, nothing else. Yes, there is something. What something? Tell me, I am very much worried to know. Yes, there are some residual oil left after preparing cakes. Oh, residual oil. Yes, my mother wants to export those oils, residual oils, to your states because what we know that you are very much hunker after oils. That's why we want to share our residual oil with you. Oh, residual oil. But I will accept with no tariff. That means with zero tariff. Okay. Let me start my topic, that is monkey tricks. Monkey tricks is a topic which reveals many of the secrecy of our nations. Of course, the secrecy of USA. As you know, dear friends, nowadays our India sits on fire. Everywhere, in North Nepal, in South Sri Lanka, in East Bangladesh, in West Pakistan, all neighboring nations have become our hostile and we are in trouble, of course. And you know also that the monkey tricks has been played by whom? That person, as you know, the President of USA, he thinks himself as the God of the world and he plays his monopolies over all the nations. He dismissed Nepal government, also dismissed Bangladesh government, also dismissed Sri Lanka and also Pakistan. But he tried hard to dismiss our government. But our government stands still, stands strong and fights hard. The secrecy, I want to tell you why Mr. Donald Trump, that is the President of USA, has a very greedy eye on India. Recently you might have known that in Venezuela, a very small nation, peaceful nation, the President Maduro, Nicolas Maduro, and his wife, beloved wife, that is the Florence, that is the Mrs. Florence, have been kidnapped in the midnight by the USA government. Very sorrowful, very sorry sight, extremely sorry sight. Do you know why? let me explain about Venezuela. It means Venezuela is a nation. He is a member of NATO also. It's like USA. That is a democratic country. And that nation earlier was fully dependent upon USA. That means everything, beginning from the food production to crop productions, instruments, weapons, everything were coming from USA. But Venezuela, the nation, is a very fertile nation. It has own landed properties. It has own oil depot, the highest oil depot is present underneath the soil of Venezuela. And Mr. Donald Trump wanted that Venezuela should export all crude oils from his nation to USA, and USA will refine all these oils and to send to different nations and earns a lot of dollars and dollars and dollars. This government, Nicolas Maduro, decided also nationalized his coins, also nationalized his food productions, and he demands that our research, how can USA make dominancy so that he did not come under the control of USA president. He disobeyed him. That makes anger to president. He warned him many times, if you don't obey me, if you don't share your food productions, oils, all these things that I want, I will smash you. That he did. Earlier you might have known, in case of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, that is the president of Iraq, was kidnapped. Likewise, he did. It is his cruelty is beyond imagination. Why he did this? First of all, I want to tell that this Venezuela, the government started using their own coins. They started business trade through their own coins. They slowly stopped to export their own oil depots. That's why this nation having fertility, having high fertility, having high production, now the people are begging. The reason you know. Earlier, what was happening? That USA was supplying all the necessities of Venezuela. And initially, the cost of his necessity, that means food or other things, necessary cereals, all these things, he sold in the Venezuelan market with low price. Initially it was very low. As a result of which, the local production, the local businessmen, the local cultivators, the local companies failed to compete with USA companies because they supply cheaper rates. The people of the Venezuela were very glad to accept the things in cheaper rate. They accepted, but when their business failed, their own business failed, and production decreased because they did not go for higher productions since their productive values have got down. So what happens when their cultivations, their everything smashed, then USA revealed his cruel self, gigantic self. That means when he comes to know that they are now under his full control, so he immediately increased the cost value of his own products, that is export products, and that is higher than the original products of the Venezuela. Suppose, for example, I tell you, milk per liter was initially in their own nation's production was 20 rupees per liter, and USA sold 10 rupees per liter. But when their dairy system collapsed, so what happens? Then USA overnight increased the cost of dairy products, likewise other products. So the cost becomes so high, and their own productive values have gone down and down, as a result of which they are bound to depend upon USA, and they now cry for food, they now cry for medicines, everything. But when this new government, that is Nicolas Maduro, started his new venture, started his new production, so that Maduro becomes the eyesore of President of USA. Likewise in India, when India didn't obey his suggestions, he wanted, because as you know in USA, there is heavy production of milks, cheese, ghees, butters, also other production like meats, like weapons, like medicines, like research instruments, like space instruments. So they are producing and they want to sell in the Indian market. As you know, India is the largest democratic country, having more than 140 crores of people. So he wanted that his markets should continue with fully fledged in India, because it is the largest country and has a large market. So he wanted to make international market in India, because his excess production, because as you know in USA every farmer, cultivator, a single farmer has 20 or 30 cows. The farm manager, farm master has also more than 500,000 or 5,000 cows and domestic animals. So they want to get entry of their own dairy products and other cereals like wheat, rice in Indian market. Wanted to do in Indian market. So he pressurized our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Damodar Das Modi, to allow, to make a sign in New Deal in agreement. But he didn't do. He replied sharply that first my countrymen, then others. I must see the interest of my own nations, own farmers, own researchers, own scientists, and own employees. If he will allow, because as you know in India, the farmers are not so rich. They do have 1 or 3 or 4 or 5 cows. They depend on selling the dairy products and get something, so through which they can maintain their family. So if our government will allow the USA market in India, to allow their dairy products to sell in India, And initially, as I tell you, for example, now we get Amul spray by Amul milk 50 rupees or 52 rupees per liter. As one example I am giving. But initially they will start rupees 30 per liter of USA milk. So people automatically, the middle class people and poor people automatically they will purchase that milk because the USA milk is lesser in cost than the Indian milk. So what will happen? The same thing what has happened in Venezuela and other nations will happen in India because our own cultivators, our own dairy managers or masters, they cannot compete because their rate, they cannot compete with, initially I am telling you the word initially, they cannot compete with USA products. Their rate is low, our rate is high because they cannot manage. So, as a result of which, they will be bound to sell their cows or they will be bound to stop the further breeding of the cows and domestic animals. They will stop their companies. They have to stop likewise other companies. They have to stop also research. India has to stop these scientific works. As you know, in case of during Corona, our medicine, Covishield, had earned a very good name in the world, and that make the eyesore of President of USA. So he wanted his production must come to the Indian market, the largest market of the world. But India didn't agree. If he would have agreed, what would have happened? That our farmers cannot compete. So our dairy system will be smashed. Our cultivating system will be smashed. Our research scientific systems will be smashed. Our space system will be smashed in course of time. Then what will happen? It's exactly like the Venezuela. What will happen? Then immediately when he will come to know that Indian own market, own businessmen, own cultivators are nowhere, they are down and down and down, then he will immediately overnight will increase. Now what we get the Amul spray, Amul milk in 52 rupees, he will increase up to 82 rupees. Initially he had given 30 rupees per liter. Likewise other products, other instruments. So what will happen? So the Indians have to depend upon USA products. Without their products, they cannot stand, they cannot look, they cannot hear, they cannot walk. So we will be beggar like Bangladesh. We will be beggar like Pakistan. We will be beggar like Sri Lanka and Nepal. India doesn't want. Our Honorable Prime Minister sees first the interest of the people of India, gives first priority of the interest of the India. So you see, I appeal, try to understand, my friends, my Indian people, that these monkey tricks, we must try our hard to foil it, to dismiss it. We never allow the foreign products. We have to depend our own products. Ghar ghar mein Swadeshi. There must be such a propaganda must be there. We must tighten the hands of our own Honorable Prime Minister. We must encourage him, behind him. Oh Gaddar, oh Dashadrahi, never dare to break this phenomenon. Our Honorable Prime Minister has vowed to progress, to lead the India into highest progress, and the world will see that India is more than USA. India top the list. India will see, but I assure you, if India becomes more than USA, I assure you, Our Indian government will always make a fancy night, will never play. Even India becomes richest of the world, will never play monkey tricks. He'll always, even he become a richest of the rich, he will play always the equality. He will maintain the peace and pleasure of his neighboring nations, also far off nations. So many things remains here. Also another thing I tell you lastly, that the friendship with Russia we must tighten. The friendship with China we must tighten. Also in the neighboring nations we must have to bring them into a good book in the sense that we have stopped the Sindhu water, we have stopped the power to Bangladesh. And in this way they will be compelled, lastly they will be compelled to come into, they will be compelled to praise India, they will come towards India. And because as you know, whenever any danger comes, only neighbors can stand, otherwise not. So my dear friends, my dear young men and women, educationists, scientists, researchers, cultivators, all I appeal that let us with more courage and excitement, with more vigor, we must go for increasing our own production. Ghar ghar mein Swadeshi, it should be there and it should continue till we become self-sufficient, we become self-sustained, we become self-dependent. Sabka vikas, sabka vishwas, sabka prayas must be successful. Thank you all.